Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Curtain. Today I am interviewing Pierce Wheeler. Pierce is no stranger to the stage and has performed in a handful of well-known shows including Dear Evan Hansen, Kimberly Akimbo, and more. So let's get ready to go behind the curtain with Pierce. How are you doing today, Pierce?
I'm good, Timothy. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And so to start off, was there a specific moment in your life when you realized you wanted to become an actor?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm the youngest of four siblings, and growing up, my older siblings would do community theater, and I'd go to their productions, and they were like these small black box community theater shows. And I, as a little 7-year-old, I would get so antsy in my seat because I wanted to be up there on the stage. The first couple times I was like, okay, okay, I see what's going on. It's fun to see my siblings. But then I think it was the show Seussical. My brother was a Wickersham, and I was watching the boy play JoJo on stage, and I was like, I want to be that role. I want to be on that stage. I want to sing that song. And then since then, I got into community theater with my siblings, and that's basically how it started. I think just watching them do it growing up.
Yeah, that's awesome. And who are some of your biggest inspirations?
Oh yeah, I mean, um, good question. Oh my goodness, I love comedic male actors. I think my inspirations have definitely changed over time, just with age and see like consuming more theater and movies and stuff. I would say nowadays a big inspiration who's a working actor is Christopher Fitzgerald, who was the original Ogie and Waitress, and I think he most recently did Spam-A-Lot. And fun fact, he's the husband of the director of Kimberly Akimbo,
Really?
Jessica Stone. So I got to meet him when we were rehearsing in New York, and I was just a nervous little tot, and I was like, oh my goodness. But I definitely think growing up, I remember watching the movie Singing in the Rain, and I forget the actor's name, but the actor who played Cosmo and sings the song "Make 'Em Laugh." I wanted to be able to be comedically and comedically impressive and impressive, like yeah, yeah. I'm gonna put a pin on that because that's all I can say.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so what's the best piece of advice been given by another actor?
Hmm. Uh, at NYU, I had a fabulous teacher that just had a big emphasis on being weird. Like a lot of like the typical advice is like be yourself, and that's true, and it's important to be yourself. I think it's important to tap into your impulsive, weird self. Because while being you true to yourself is important and stuff, it's important to dig a little deeper and in a lot of the roles that I audition for or I play, I get most comfortable in an audition room and have the most fun when I am finding weird things about myself or how I relate to a character in that impulsive way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna jump into your first national tour, and if I'm not mistaken, that was David Hansen, correct?
Yeah, Kimberly Akimbo and Dear Evan Hansen are my first two professional gigs. So, but yeah, I toured with Dear Evan Hansen, um, June of 2022 to July of 2023 for a year, and it was fantastic. It really was.
Yeah, and so speaking of David Hansen, can you take us through the audition process of David Hansen?
Yeah, so I was 18 years old, and on the website for dearevanhansen.com, at that point, like Dear Evan Hansen had been a very popular show. They had multiple companies. They had a Broadway, London tour, Canada production, and they had online like I think Hamilton has this too. They had like
Yeah.
a self submission thing where like anyone could just submit a tape, and I just was like, okay. People growing up told me that I would like I gave Evan Hansen or like awkward weird boy vibes, and I was like, okay, I can sing Waving Through a Window. So I just submitted the end of Waving Through a Window, and then I began school at NYU my freshman year, and I remember I was in acting class and I looked down at my phone. You shouldn't be on your phone in acting class, but I looked down at my phone and I got a notification that I got an appointment for Evan. And I was like, oh my goodness, like these things actually work. Like they actually look at those videos. I didn't know they actually, I was like, oh my God. And yeah, from there, I went in 6 times. Um, and it was wonderful. And then like we were in the audition process, it was fun because the first time I went in, it was just a table with the casting director, and it was just us, and he gave me his personal notes. And then throughout the six times I came back, there was like more and more people, more and more people. And then the last time, I swear there was like 30 people in this room with a camera crew because the producers of the show weren't couldn't make it to the final, so they like had it professionally filmed. And it felt like it was so high stakes for me because I was 18 years old and I walked into this room of like professional adults that were all like, "Hello." And and yeah, it was wonderful. I was nervous as heck. I'm trying to refrain from cursing. I was nervous as heck every time I went in, but I think that worked because Evan Hansen is a little bit of an anxious mess. Um, and yeah, it was great. It was really great because they gave great feedback and they knew exactly at that point, like I mentioned, the show was so popular and there were so many people that had played Evan that they knew exactly how to navigate me to do what they wanted to see. And so it felt like a very professional, big deal. So yeah, I went in for six times and then I got the offer on May 6th, 2022. And I was just forever grateful. Yeah.
That's great. And so you also covered Jared, correct?
Yeah, so yeah, I went in for Evan at first, like the main Evan, and then after that I went in for Evan, Connor, and Jared, the triple boy cover, because some the understudies sometimes depends on the company. Sometimes there's a triple cover that can cover all three boys, but I'm not much of a Connor. I personally think like I'm not scary and I'm 5'6", like so I think I actually remember I did the audition, I did the Connor scene, and they were all like, "Aw, like thank you." Like they were like, "That was cute." And then the next time I went in, it was Evan Jared, and then that's what I booked, the Evan Jared cover. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so, Evan is a complex character. And so, what is one thing that playing Evan Hansen has had taught you?
Yeah, I mean that was my first professional big lead, and it's funny, or like understudying a lead like that, and I'm really grateful because it is such a monster of a role, and I think anyone who has played it or is playing it would agree. Vocally and mentally taxing on the body and the heart and the soul and the brain. And I think it taught me how to pace myself because um you know everyone knows the songs of Dear Evan Hansen, like Waving Through a Window, For Forever, If I Could Tell Her, Words Fail, and then all the other little songs in between, like Sincerely Me, like all the Evans, like You Will Be Found. But no one really talks about doing that, doing the entire show, having to sing all those songs and doing the scenes in between where you're screaming and crying. So I think that in the roughly 18 times that I got to go on as Evan and do the role, it really taught me about pacing yourself and waving through, like, do not blow your voice out in the first 10 minutes of the show skrelting on Waving Through a Window. Like, you have to get, you have to pace yourself. And it also helps with the storytelling of it. Like, he should grow throughout the progression of the 2 hours that you're watching the show. So
Plus,
it
I
taught me
mean,
about pacing
yeah,
myself.
yeah. Plus, I mean, you also have to do like a whole Woods fail at the end. So like that's a whole.
Yeah, like it's just I remember the first time I went on, I think I was like, I don't remember a single thing because I stepped out on that stage and I was like, I was trying to remember every line and every number I had to hit on the stage and every dance move and stuff. But throughout the year and just watching Anthony Norman, the principal Evan, do it, like just taking notes from an older actor who's doing the show six times a week, I just learned about like, you know, you as an actor comes first, and this role is it's a job, and you're performing, you're telling the story to people, so it's important to do the best thing you could do is pace yourself. Definitely.
Yeah, that's great. And so, fast forward to now, you're currently portraying Aaron on the Kimberly Na Akimbo National Tour. And
Mhm.
so, what was your first encounter with Kimberly Akimbo? Was it the Broadway show, the soundtrack?
Yeah, I remember actually I was telling the cast last night because we're soon going to Cleveland. And I was like, "Oh, I just recalled the Kimberly Akimbo cast recording came out on like streaming services when I was on tour with Dear Evan Hansen in Cleveland." And I remember like that week or those 2 weeks we were there, I would that was my obsession. I was like listening to this new cast recording, and I've always been a fan of Janine Tesori, and I've done a production of Shrek. I've done Thoroughly Modern Millie. I've done what's another show that I think those are the only two Janine Tesori shows I've done. But I've been a big fan of her work, and I was just consuming all these. clever lyrics that David Lindsay Bear wrote and her quirky like clever melodies. And that was my first impression of it. And then as soon as the tour is over, that was one of the first shows I was dying to get to see in New York. And when I saw it, I took two friends from high school who aren't big theater people. And so I was nervous about how they would, how they were going to like it
Yeah.
because it's not like a big flashy spectacle show like you would take someone that doesn't like theater. It's more of like a you need to put your thinking cap on and
Yeah.
really lock in, you know. And we all walked out crying and laughing, and it was the original Broadway company was so wonderful. And I do recall looking at those boys, the teen boys on the stage,
Yeah.
either any of the characters, and I was like, I want to do that. I could do that. Like I was like, I want to take a crack at that material. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I don't think this counts as a spoiler, but in the show you ice skate. And so
Yeah.
did you know how to ice skate before the show? Or is this something you learned to do the show?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I feel like I was like most kids where I was like scared of ice skating, but like would hop on the ice and grab the wall and kind of like inch along the
Yeah.
wall. I didn't grow up doing ice hockey or anything, but I definitely like have tried ice skating before, but they made it very clear to us when we were auditioning that it like wasn't a requirement. They weren't like you need to be like an A+ ice skater in order to book this role. They were just asked for our experience with ice skating. And then in the 3 weeks of rehearsal we had in New York, we would end each rehearsal with an hour of ice skating, and we would travel from Times Square where we would rehearse to Chelsea Pier ice skating rink and actually get on the ice and just like start to feel what we were about to do 8 shows a week for the next year. And yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so you still have a little bit of the tour left. And so what stop are you looking forward to the most?
Ooh. If you asked me that about a month ago, I would have said Boston because we just came from Boston and I've never been to Boston. And it is my one of my favorite tour stops. I had such a wonderful time and the audiences were so loud and loving it and everything. Now upcoming, I would say Greenville, South Carolina. I really had a the Peace Center, that's where the theater is. It's so nice and the downtown area is so beautiful. So I think I'm really looking forward to, excuse me, when we're in Greenville, South Carolina.
That's great. And so Kimberly Akimbo is a beautiful story. And so what is your favorite story from tour?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. I would say I would say definitely the beginning, seeing I mean, I just have to say, like, getting the chance to work with Carolee Carmello has just been so fantastic. And, in the beginning of rehearsals, we were just, I'm a young actor and she's a Broadway vet. And getting the chance to just watch her start to find something and then really like love it, like, feel it. And watching her work as an actor is one of the best parts of this tour and a story I'm looking forward to telling my friends and other people in the future. Just when they're like, "How is Kimberly Kimbo?" I'm like, the real question is how is Carolee Carmello? Because um, it's just been such an educational experience watching someone with such talent and professionalism take on a role like that. It's a hard role, and it's easy to go astray with it, in my opinion. And she carries it with such grace. So when I'm her age, I hope that I'm still working with the class and elegance and talent that she carries every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And so there are different characters that have different storylines throughout the show. And so
Yeah.
if you could play any other character and Kimberly Akimbo, gender aside, who would you want to play and why?
Oh, that's a good question. And I know exactly who I was going to say. The mom, Patty, is in my like me and Darren Hayes, who plays Martin, backstage, we're always cackling. We hear the show 8 times a week, like we hear it backstage, the speakers and stuff, and we still laugh at the lines that Patty says because she's just it's such a complex character, and she's comedically I'm obsessed with her comedically, and the story she tells of being a mother who's dealing with losing a child, knowing that she's going to lose her child soon, and having to cope with it by being a hypochondriac and um, you know almost a bit, it makes her a little bit of a narcissist. But at the same time, you could tell it's a complex character, and I think I'd love to tell her story because also the song Father Time is a great song, and I'd love to sing that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so if you could take any prop home from Kimberly Akimbo, which prop would you take and why?
Hmm. Hmm. It's a good question. I think it's hard to take a mailbox home, but I would me and I call her Susie, the mailbox in the show, and that's there's a bit in the Wash a Check when I my character gets his arm stuck in the mailbox, and throughout the course of the run, I've like experimented different ways of making it look like my arm is stuck in a mailbox, and I would take a like it's a crazy answer, but I would take a mailbox home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. As quote unquote ensemble member, you're in a different
Mhm.
amount of scenes, and so what is your favorite scene that you were in and why?
Yeah. I love. It's a good question. I really love all the scenes I'm in. I have a least favorite scene, but I won't share that. I really love getting to do Our Disease. Um, it's the song in Act Two when Martin and Aaron, the school kids are presenting their bio presentations, and it's always getting laughs from the audience, and that makes us as actors feel great on stage. And I get a little moment, he gets a little moment, the girls get a little moment, and then the song ends with Carolee Carmello belting beautiful notes and acting drama. So it has a little bit of everything. It's like comedy, choreography with cool chairs and a vintage or nostalgic, I should say. What's it called? The things in school projector. You know, and do you remember in
Yeah.
school they put the clear? It was a thing from the '90s. You'll see when you see the show. You have seen the show,
Oh
but
no, I have not.
oh, you haven't seen the show. Okay, well you'll see it in
Not in
Chicago,
person.
but it has a little taste of everything, and then it ends with drama, which I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's with the Kimberly Kimbo section, but as mentioned earlier, I have the script,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I like to
I'm
do this
game.
with a bunch of the guests. So I'm gonna do a couple from each act. Uh,
Okay. I should warn you. I'm pretty good. I love this show so much, and I've heard it so many times. I'm gonna be like, if I don't get one, I'm gonna be surprised.
you say that, but that's what everyone says.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Let
Yeah.
me not speak too soon.
So we're gonna start pretty early on. Oh, and
Okay.
not all of them are gonna be your lines. So it'll also be a test on
Okay.
how much you listen during the show. So Kimberly says, "You said you'd pick me up at 7."
And do I respond with the next line?
Yeah,
Yeah, but oh, I guess you're right. You said I'd pick me up at 7. Yeah, but I got us a Game Boy, Kim.
that's close enough. It's I know, but I got a Game Boy, Kim.
Okay. Okay.
So like you're on the like line of it, yeah.
I'm paraphrasing.
So the next one is uh this is Patty's line that you're gonna
Okay.
guess. Buddy says, "You want the prom queen."
Yeah, because I was pregnant at the time, you cost me several votes.
That is correct.
Hey now. That gets a good laugh. So, hey.
This song is from the lyric is Make a Wish.
Okay.
I want to be a model for a day, a famous fashion muse.
In a black Dior cocktail dress and a pair of Jimmy Choos.
That is correct. Alrighty, this is Delia says, anyway, show choirs a go, but if we want to go to state, then we're gonna really need to step it up. The harmonies, the choreography, the costumes.
Especially because West Orange is doing Evita,
Yes.
but of course.
And so,
Sky Alyssa Friedman, who plays Teresa and says that line, makes me laugh on stage when she says that because her character is also an awkward teenage girl
really?
and she throws her arms up like doing the Ava Perón, Evita stance.
Yeah.
And she does it with such gusto sometimes. She's like, especially because West Orange is doing Evita. And it's just good. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's awesome. So Kimberly says, it's what you didn't do, not yet at least, but there's still time.
It's what you and then Buddy says, it's what you didn't do. Give me that line one more time.
It's what you didn't do, not yet at least, but there's still time.
You're stumping me here because at this very point in the show when they're in the car and she says that line, this is when I'm ripping my clothes off and getting into my next costume. So my brain is somewhere else. So I this is where I get stumped. I
Buddy
don't know.
says, "See, this is a woman in a nutshell."
There read that one. The
Yes.
misogynistic line, if you will.
And so this one's one of your lines.
Oh, okay, okay.
Delia says, "It was my idea."
Great. Then we can all go together.
Yes.
How perfect is that?
And so the next one is Kimberly's line. This solvent takes the ink off the check so we can rewrite them for whatever amount we want.
But not big enough that we get in trouble and not small enough that we can eventually return the money. Something
Yes.
like that. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. This one
Oh, this is fun.
this one's also your line. So Deborah sings, "Nobody gets what they want. Nobody gets what they want. Nobody gets what they want." And then you say,
Can't I just reach in the mailbox? My arm's pretty skinny.
"Yes."
Which I like to play with that line sometimes because some days Aaron is he's flexing that he has skinny arms, and some days he's ashamed, and some days he says it matter of fact, and some days he wants to impress Delia, you know.
This one is uh Kimberly's line. She doesn't want to know.
She just this is during the fight scene, and
Yes.
I'm dissociating on stage left because they have us holding this pose for what feels like 2 minutes, and in these 2 minutes, I go to a different place. Like I literally, my mind, I'm taken to a beach, I'm taken to the woods. Like I'm. So I sometimes count down from 100 and see if I can get to one before I start dancing. Um, she doesn't want to know something about Zwicky, something about Zwicky, the or um something about the drama of the show. Oh, I don't know. I'm also stumped here.
Gator would be like me.
Oh, she's yes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so this one is how to wash a check reprise.
Okay.
Teresa says, "I'm the driver."
We're the lookout. I'm
Yes.
distraction. Show no fear.
Yes. And so this one is a little later in that scene. Kimberly says, "No, I've decided. I won't do it if they're involved."
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
And so the final one, this is what the very like last scene in the show.
Okay.
Kimberly says, "Didn't I tell you?"
Didn't I tell you? Um, could you get? It's the last line, so I want to get it right. Could you give me the line right before? Didn't I tell you?
And wild beasts.
What's that? It's a Bontic Bach.
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh wow. Oh my God, that was so fun. I'm surprised I did well.
Yeah.
Sometimes yeah.
You have a show tonight, right?
Yes, I have a show tonight, and I'm excited because Ian Corsi, who Allison has interviewed, and I'm not sure if you have interviewed, but
I have not been able
he's
to get a hold of him yet, so
he's home, which is a little outside of DC, and he's coming to the show tonight, and so we're gonna have a little reunion, and I'm so excited.
I saw him as Kano and Devin Hansen, so
Oh, really? Wait,
yeah.
when you saw the tour, where was it? Where did you see it?
Chicago.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
and so two more questions. The first one being,
Okay.
what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, that's a sweet question. I tell Pierce um to um oh wow. I tell him so many things. I tell so many younger actors so many things, but specifically myself, I would say uh um let people around you know that you are happy and love what you're doing, and hope the best for them. Let them know that that he's grateful to be doing theater with this person or learning from this person. I don't think I'm practicing gratitude much more, and I think it could have benefited me when I was younger and doing and like starting out on theater to like let my teachers know how much I appreciated learning from them and the directors and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so this next question, the final question, kind of ties into the last one. What advice would you give to younger students who want to pursue a career in acting?
Mm-hmm. Consume as much t TV and media and plays as possible. Um, I could have also said another like be yourself moment and stuff, but I think what helped me a lot was watching movies and seeing what actors are doing and watching bootlegs of I'm not promoting bootlegs, but watch a slime tutorial and see how someone captivates the stage and practice that in your bedroom. Watch the Tony Award performances where they're doing tap numbers and try to pick up on the little step, you know what I mean? Like that's what I love doing as a kid, and I think it's very much helped me in my career and my passion for musical theater and stuff was watching videos on YouTube of people doing what I wanted to do and just doing it in my bedroom or when no one was in the house and stuff. So watch everything you can. Go to a show. Watch this movie. Do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that actually wrapped up the interview today. Thank you for joining me.
Of course.